Hi, welcome to ESG's Women in Cybersecurity, and I'm so pleased to have this episode with Caroline Wong. Hi, Caroline, how are you?
Hi, I'm so good. I'm delighted to be here.
So can you introduce yourself? Just tell us, what you do.
Yes, I am the Chief Strategy Officer at Cobalt. We are a pen test as a service company.
So I know you studied electrical engineering and computer science at Cal. What got you into cybersecurity?
So I graduated from EECS and I had an internship the summer between my junior and senior year. I got this gig at eBay in the IT project management department. eBay, I think, was one of the first companies to allow strangers to transact with each other over the internet. So I started as a security engineer focused on policy and compliance. And I really got my big break when Dave Cullinane, who was formerly the CISO at Washington Mutual, joined our team. And after working together as a team for a little while, he asked me to report directly to him and to take on a new role, which was chief of staff for the team. And 6 months into it, Dave said to me, and this is kind of where the security metrics come in. He said, okay, we've got the money, we're hiring people, we're buying technology, we're launching projects. Next, what we need are the metrics to demonstrate the return on investment. And so we had an opportunity to try something out that for the most part wasn't really being done.
Nice. And you took those learnings and put them into a book to share with other people so they wouldn't have to go through that whole learning process, right?
I did. I did. And it was so incredibly satisfying. You know, it's been more than 10 years since the book came out. And I have found that the content has really stood the test of time. Last year, I published a course on LinkedIn Learning called Security Metrics Insights that basically is the version 2 of this book, but in a kind of video course format.
So tell me a little bit about after eBay and the career steps after that.
I spent 2 years leading a security team at Zynga. I wrote the information security policies to help take Zynga through their IPO.
Nice. And then what did you do after Zynga?
At this stage, I realized that I had sort of fallen into cybersecurity. I hadn't actually chosen it. It just sort of happened. Maybe there's an opportunity for me to try something different. And a global product management opportunity came up at Symantec. And I thought to myself, well, if I learn how to do product management, then I will have a skill set that I might actually be able to apply in different fields. So I did some product management. Now, by the time I left Symantec, I had realized, oh, cybersecurity is actually really cool. So information security is actually a really great place to be. This field is growing. And I found myself at Cigital. Cigital later got acquired by Synopsys. And I was performing BSIM assessments, BSIMM. So I was flying around the world, interviewing security development teams, software development teams, talking to them about software security and writing these management consultant reports.
So after that, is that when you went to Cobalt? And can you tell us about that?
I talked to something like 15 different organizations about different roles. And one of them was this tiny little startup with less than 10 people called Cobalt. I really wanted to make a big impact. And I thought to myself, an emerging startup might be just the way to do that.
So throughout your career, are there any challenges that you faced and how have you overcome them?
Absolutely. The one that stands out in my mind is being in a toxic workplace environment. I once worked on a team where my peers would bully me and then talk to me about it afterwards, explaining their plan to bully me.
Wow.
And I had no idea how to respond. And now I realize that I and we have choices. We don't have to stay in roles like that. We don't have to work on teams like that. I've really come to value working with teams and with colleagues with whom I can bring my whole self to the table and be valued for it. I think that when folks are valued and accepted, they're going to do better work. I think that's a natural outcome.
What advice do you have for women in cybersecurity? What advice can you share to encourage women in our field?
If I could go back and talk to myself 20 years ago, I would say to myself, look, Caroline, unpleasant and bad and terrible stuff will happen. That is the nature of life. And what you need to believe is that your future self is strong enough to handle it. Life for me has been full of all sorts of wonderful things and all sorts of terrible things. And that's just how it goes, but I think if we can develop some trust in our future selves, then it can feel a little bit better.
Awesome. Well, Caroline, thank you so much for joining our show today. We appreciate it so much. And for those watching the video, tune in to the audio podcast. There's so much more that we dig into with Caroline. So thank you so much for joining, and be sure to sign up and hear more great stories from women in cybersecurity.